Afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to Arsenal Fan TV. My name is Liam. Today we're going to be looking back at the 2-2 draw which happened at White Hart Lane earlier this afternoon. To look further into this game, I'm joined with Mems. How you doing, pal?
Not too bad, Liam. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. So let's have a look. Talk about this game then, Mems.
Sure.
2-2 it finished. Let's talk about some individual. Actually, first let's talk about your perspective of the game. Just give us kind of like a 5-minute kind of analysis from your point of view. Then we'll talk about some individuals and obviously that crucial red card, which leads us down to 10 men.
Yeah, I mean, it was a typical North London derby. The first 20 minutes, I thought Liam were pretty tight. Both teams sort of struggling. I thought Spurs probably settled at the better of the two teams. I thought we struggled for the first 20 minutes to get a hold of the game. Passing was pretty off. It seemed like Welbeck was pretty isolated up front for the first 20 minutes or so. But then out of nothing, it seemed like, we scored a goal and we went 1-0 up. And as soon as we went 1-0 up, I felt that, we had a couple of chances afterwards. And if we would have probably got that second goal, then we could have gone up at half-time in a quite strong position. But we somehow went in at half-time, 1-0 up. I thought we looked pretty confident. And then the second half started. Obviously, we went out at half-time. I just seen an interview with Arsene Wenger, and he said that he actually spoke to Coquelin at half-time, and he said, you're on a yellow card, nothing stupid. I think it was like the 55th minute. He for some reason, he went in for some stupid tackle, and he wasn't going anywhere, the player, and he picked up his second yellow. And after that, I think from the time Coquelin got sent off, it was 7 minutes between the time that he got sent off to the time he went 2-1 down. I have to say, it was a cracking goal by Harry Kane. No one wants to say that, but it was a brilliant finish. And when it was 2-1, I thought, oh God, here we go. It's the end of it. And I was looking at Arsene Wenger, and I was looking, what can you do tactically to try and shore us up? And I was tweeting during the game of some of the options that he could have done. And he moved Welbeck out to the right. He put Ramsey in the centre, and he played Ozil as a sort of like a target man. I don't think that was particularly working for about 5-10 minutes. Yeah. And it was almost like a boxer got punched, and it was sort of dazed, and it was waiting for a reaction from him. But by the time the sort of reaction came, we was 2-1 down, and eventually he did make some subs, which got our shape back together. And at 2-1 down, I thought, this is it. We've lost this. But somehow Bellerin, he popped up, got another assist. I thought we played particularly well today. I thought Ospina played well also. We got our goal 2-2, and then I thought we could have won it at the end when Aaron Ramsey went through. I had flashbacks of Mickey Thomas at Anfield. It's a very similar sort of position, and I was waiting for Ramsey to pulled a trigger, but he sort of delayed, and then the tackle came in. So overall, Liam, I think 2-2 was probably a fair result. I think the referee sort of bottled it as well with the Eric Dyer situation.
Yeah, he should have sent him off.
He should have sent him off there. But saying that, I thought 2-2, considering the circumstances, was a fair result. But in terms of the title, if Leicester win today, I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough, mate.
I think they're probably laughing right now, because I think they've got every chance of getting a result with Vicarage Road against Watford. I think they'll just be flying with such good morale in that team. DT's joined us. He's just been at the North London derby. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, I'm all right. How's everyone?
How you doing, DT? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm a bit gutted, man.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, I'm gutted. Man. Shut up, you bitch. Yeah, I'm gutted, man. I think in the first 20, I missed the first 25 minutes of the game, and I was, best way of saying it, but I got caught up and I couldn't get into the ground straight away because, Spurs fans wanted to say hello to us. Mugs. And, but everyone was saying, first 20-odd minutes, it was kind of mutual respect for each other. Kind of, we stood off and said, right, what you got sort of thing. And then we got the goal, and I got there just before we scored. And then from the moment we scored till half-time, it could have been 2 or 3-0. completely dominated them. And I thought, right, this lot are there for the taking. Let's just go out there with the same intensity and the same passion as we did in that first part. And then we'll be all right. And then my brother turned around to me and he went, Coquelin and Bellerin have got yellow cards. I was like, okay, cool. And then, more Tottenham fans on the floor. Never mind. And the moment I saw Coquelin running over towards that corner where the ball was going, and everyone around us was screaming, stand up, stand up, stand up. That's all he had to do. I don't know who he tackled. I think it might have been Harry Kane. But all he had to do was stand up. Just stand up, man. That's where his bit of inexperience comes through. Do you know what I mean? So, and an experienced head would have just guided him down the touchline and said, all right, you want to get past me, you better do some serious bit of skill or you're going to have to just lump the ball in the box. Don't dive in, man. It's criminal. So he did, and then they get a goal straight away, and then a goal straight after, and we was just sitting there thinking, oh no, what has happened, man? All that hard work's just down the drain. And fair play to the boys, man. I saw some fight and some spirit out there today that we haven't seen for the last couple of weeks. And
that was the one thing today, wasn't it? There was actually a bit of determination to try and get back into the game, and we were unlucky. At the end, we had chances. Sanchez,
Ramsey, man, when he went through in the 90th odd minute, and we're like, he had at least, when you get the ball given to you in that kind of area, right? You normally get one touch, if that, and you have to hit it. He had 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, and got tackled. And we're just like, we know it's your weak foot, yeah. But sometimes you've just got to have a go. Just have a go. Yeah. You never know. It go through the keeper's legs, you pull it in the corner, whatever. Alexis didn't hit his shot very well for his goal. It wasn't the cleanest of strikes for Alexis, but it went in. Do you know what I mean? And it's just so frustrating. But we didn't lose the game, so I suppose that's what you can say, really, out of it, that we just didn't lose the game. And, Tottenham were top of the league for 13 minutes. So I suppose tomorrow there's going to be a DVD. We were top for 13 minutes. Yeah,
relive those magic moments. Yeah,
relive those 13 magic moments when we were top of the league.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Fucking shadow-dwelling mugs. So,
and it did look a bit. It did look a bit. I'll say vicious outside the stadium before the game. There's pictures of a guy with blood all over his face and everything.
Yeah, he ain't an Arsenal fan, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that.
Did you see any trouble, DT, or because there's some? Did it kick off? Yeah.
Listen, I'll talk to you privately, not on air.
Fair enough.
Mate.
Fair enough.
Listen, I'll tell you what, right? The Metropolitan Police need to go and reevaluate what they do, yeah? Things over the last few years seem to have got a lot worse.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I don't know whether it's... I don't know whether it's because there's a newfound aggression built up from social media. I don't know. There's always been trouble, but the last few couple of years, especially at their place, it kicks off big time, and the police said that they were going to do more to stop what happened in the Carling Cup match, and they don't. And the problem is that we all get off at the train at up the top end of the high road, and we've got a good 3-mile walk, like 2-mile walk, something like that, to the stadium. And what happens is that the police, we all try just walking and being normal and just go to the game as normal. And the police end up segregating you, and they end up putting you in a little pack, a massive pack. And what that does, it basically paints a red arrow on your head. They're basically saying, "Oh, look at us, we're Arsenal fans, target us." And what happens is that the police are so focused and they've got so many numbers around us that the Tottenham fans on the other side are free to do whatever they want. And we get bottles launched at us and all sorts, and they come right up to the police cordon and spit at us, and you get some of the obscenities and the curses about your family. And, You know, Robbie was getting abused from Arsenal Fan TV, and it was just like, he was just sitting a big grin on his face, like, yeah, whatever, boys. Do you know what I mean? That's it. And then I was getting fucking pavement dancers on the other side going, "Oi, DT, you fucking mug." Nice. I was like, yeah, you're a big man on the other side while you're doing your fucking bop around, aren't you, you fucking dickhead. And then they really started trying to push the police line with the Arsenal fans, and the police line broke, and that was the cue for the Arsenal fans to say, listen, we ain't being stuck in a pen and like caged animals and taking this. So it went off, and it fucking went off big time, and all those pavement dancers, woo, it was like Michael Jackson doing moonwalks, mate. They were disappearing. So it's, listen, man, the police do need to start thinking about it, because, you know, in all seriousness, you know, I had my 15-year-old with me today, and it's like, he's used to it now, but, you know, I see a lot of kids at the game as well, and it's not good for them, man. Do you know what I mean?
You know what, DT? I don't think it's particularly an Arsenal problem or a Spurs problem. It seems like I've seen it Southend and Colchester recently, and Millwall. It seems like that culture's coming back into the game.
Yeah.
It just seems to be creeping back in, and it seems like now there's people out there recording themselves and posting it on social media. They almost want to become heroes and things like that. They're doing it for a reaction. So it's tough now. I mean, like you said, you go with your kids. I've seen other families going with kids, and there's coins and bottles being thrown. It's not nice. And it's always expected when you go to Spurs, to be honest with you. You know, they always give us a tough time, and you know, to be fair, when they come over to our stadium, we give them a hard time as well. It's you know, the things that they do to our toilets. They smash up our toilets and things like that. You know what I mean? So it's how can I put it? It's one of those things which is expected. But going back to the game, DT. I mean, what was the atmosphere inside the stadium when it went down to 2-1? Did some people turn on the players?
No, do you know what? They didn't. No, fans didn't. It was a total contrast, because when we went down at Man United, the fans, all of us were going ballistic about it, and it was. But I think part of us were kind of sitting there and saying, well, Coquelin's responsible for part of this. We're not losing because we play badly. We need to regroup, and we need to go again, because a lot of us could see that there was still plenty for us in this game, even down to 10 men. And you know, and at the end of the day, the way the fans see it was that, you know, we had to keep going. We had to push the players on, because if we would have dropped our heads as fans, and if we would have, you know, just admitted defeat once the second goal went in as fans, then it would have gone across to the players as well. But we kept going. We kept going. We kept singing. We kept singing. We kept going. And the frustrating thing is not just the Coquelin incident, but the real frustrating thing was the fact that the referee bottled sending Eric Dyer off.
Yeah, me and Mims were
now,
that was bad.
15 minutes to go. That guy blatantly pulls down Giroud. It's a yellow card in anyone's book.
He did.
It's a second yellow, right? If that game was down to 10v10 in that last 15, there would have been only one winner.
And they went
even when we was down.
They went to Graham Poll a couple of minutes afterwards, DT. Sorry to cut you off there, mate. And Graham Poll said it was a definite second yellow. But I think what he'd done, the Oliver, is, I mean, a couple of minutes later, Bellerin did something very similar. He was already booked as well, and he pulled back a player's shirt as well, and he could have potentially have gone as well. So I think he's balanced things up there. But then he outbalanced it in the first place, because he should have balanced things up by sending off Dyer. Yeah, should have.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just...
Well, we've currently got around 1,200 live viewers, so thank you very much for tuning in.
Come on, Arsenal!
Got any questions for our guests or myself? You can see my Twitter name at the bottom, at Liam P.O. Edwards. Just send in your tweets, and I'll put them to our guests. Right, I'll come to you, Mems. Let's talk about Ospina. Now, obviously, a lot of pressure on this guy. You know, Petr Cech's injured. Yeah. Quite a big game to be chucked in. So he hasn't been played that much. You know, I think with
shut up, your whore.
with Ospina, I think that was one of the best games he's ever played in an Arsenal shirt. Would you tend to agree?
I agree with you, Liam. I mean, to be honest with you, I did a Periscope, and I spoke on the other day as well about Ospina. Obviously, when Czech got injured, there was there was a bit of doom and gloom around the club. But I said that David Ospina could potentially take this opportunity to cement his team cement his place in the team now, and use this now, almost like what Alex Meninga done a couple of years ago. When Seaman got injured and Meninga came in, and when he went on that mad run and pushed us on to win the title, keeping clean sheets after clean sheets. Obviously, Ospina didn't keep the clean sheet today, but I think he made probably about 3 or 4 really decent saves. His handling at times, some of the crosses, he was a bit fumbling, but his reactions to a save in the first half from Lamela when Walker fizzed one across the box and he got down low, he made a very good save in the second half as well when everyone said it went behind it, and then the BT Sports people went, and it was so close to going over the line. It was incredible. He was behind the
goal line technology.
Goal line technology showed by like a millimetre that it wasn't over the line. I felt Ospina was pretty good, and I think that will do him a world of good because that will raise his confidence. That will raise the confidence of the back four as well. Because there's never been any doubt that David Ospina has been a fantastic shot stopper as a goalkeeper. It's his coming for crossing, it's his punching, it's his decision making, which has been the issue over the years. But he's like any player, it's all about confidence. If you've got confidence, then you can play that extra 10% better. And I thought he played very well today.
No, I do tend to agree, mate. Let's talk about Aaron Ramsey then, DT. I mean, I was slating him for that little flick he done a bit earlier in the game, which then led Tottenham to kind of a bit of a counter-attack. Then his goal was kind of a nice flick. But I mean, his overall performance, what did you make of it today?
It was better than he was ever in the centre, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think we look so much more solid with Coquelin and El Neni there. So much more solid. Let's take away what Coquelin done and the Russia flood and whatnot, and let's not make Coquelin a scapegoat first and foremost. All right, he done wrong. We're angry. We're pissed off, but let's move on. All right, we didn't lose the game. Okay, we didn't lose the game, and let's not make one of our best performers a scapegoat. All right, he'll learn from this. Hopefully, he will learn from this. He'll know. He'll get a dressing down from people in the dressing room and be told that he was wrong. But yeah, them two in the middle, I thought they were absolutely solid. El Neni for me was excellent. Yeah,
you say that. Excellent. Loads of tweets coming in now with El Neni absolute brick. Just literally holding everyone off. And now, is that maybe the kind of future positions? El Neni in the kind of Aaron Ramsey position where he was, and then Aaron Ramsey on the wing.
But to be fair, me and DT, we spoke the other night, and we said that in this particular game, Spurs are going to get a lot of the ball, and we needed that extra player in midfield who's going to win the ball back. And we said that Coquelin will probably play with either El Neni, Chambers, or Flamini, and how Ramsey wasn't playing well. So, credit to Arsene Wenger for identifying this as well. A couple of the fans, suggested this, and it's. I'm glad he did it because it was such an important game, and we need that stability there. So I thought El Neni played well. He done the basics things very well. He won the ball back. He passed it very well. You see, he's got work rate. He's not one of these players that are going to set the world alight. With Aaron Ramsey, he's always trying these flicks. He's always trying these. He got caught out in the first half and the edge of our own box, and Danny Rose almost put a cross in. So you're not going to get that risk with El Neni. He's going to do the basics. He's going to do the basics very well. With Ramsey, there's a bit of showboat in there, but credit to Aaron Ramsey. I was quoting him off on Twitter, and then he popped up and scored a lovely. It was a great goal. It was a good finish.
Yeah, and there's a question from Damien Sounds, and this is for you, Mems, especially.
Oh God.
There's Ozil has Turkish blood, German raised, but has no physicality whatsoever. What do you think about that?
Bloody alright. Well, let's not stereotype people here, Let's not all say all Turkish people are bald people when they work in kebab shops or anything like that. But, Mesut Ozil was... Mesut Ozil is a fantastically gifted player. Let's not make any mistakes about it. He's got some attributes, where you give him the ball, he will control it and he will lay it off, but his strength is not his strongest part. With the fact that he's being Turkish as well, Turkish people in general are kind of like tanks and they're quite strong. But as you know, as myself. But anyway, let's not stereotype people. I mean, Ozil is a fantastic. I mean, Ozil is a fantastic player, but with regards to his strengths, I mean, I don't think it's got anything to do with his culture.
Yeah, well, there you go, Damien. Your question has been answered. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at questions. What did else? Someone said Danny Cooks is. Let's talk a bit about Danny Welbeck, DT. Not a bad game. I thought, you know, I mean, up top on his own. I didn't think he'd done too bad. He looked a bit isolated at times, I think, personally. But I mean, overall, what do you make of Danny Welbeck's performance?
I think he run their backline ragged. Listen, being a striker is not always about scoring goals all the time. It's about creating other things for other players to go in. And his movement and his pace was pulling their backline all over the place. That it was creating space for us to move into. That last 15 minutes of the first half was as fluent as I've seen us in a long, long time. And a lot of that was based on his movement and what he was doing. Yeah, he still looks a bit rusty in patches. He's still, you know, he's been out for nearly a year. It's a long time, man. It's a long time. And to play that kind of intensity and the frenetic pace that a North London derby is, it is difficult. But he run his arse into the ground. And that's the difference with him and Giroud. Giroud doesn't score, but then his overall play as well isn't doing anything. He's not pulling defenders apart. He's not creating chances. Balls are bouncing off him. But yet, Danny Welbeck, what he does with that pace is that he gives you that different dimension. He gives you that what Giroud does, where the aerial ability, but he gives you that pace to pull the centre backs all over the place. And I'm telling you, man, that's I said it all along, and I'm sticking by it. Tottenham will not win this league. They are not a championship side, I'm telling you. I'm not saying we are, but I'm telling you they are not. They are not a championship side. You're starting to see, they're starting to tire.
Yeah, it's just 2 bad results in 2 games against Arsenal.
2 bad results, yeah. This is getting to the crunch time. They're going to start playing Thursday nights again in a couple of weeks, and they've got Dortmund, so they're not going to be able to rest players and have a walk in the park in them matches. You know, this is where it gets to the nitty-gritty now, and that's why a lot of people are still saying the ones that you've got to watch out for in the title race are Arsenal and Man City, because when they need to, they're the two. Us and Man City are the 2 kind of sides that can, believe it or not, string 5-6 wins together, and that is all it sometimes takes. That's all it takes. It doesn't matter how great you've been. Like Leicester, for instance, have been great right up till now. All it takes is Leicester to have a couple of bad results, just like Spurs have had, and for Arsenal or Man City to have clicked into gear, and bang, they're on you. They're breathing down your necks. They're in front of you. Next thing, the pressure's really on. Can you handle it? So it's 9 games left, man. 27 points to play for. It's a lot of points to play for.
Well, talking of that, DT, I mean, this is a question to both of you. I do apologise just though in advance if I can't get to all the questions. They're coming in quite quick and fast. Guy called Stephen says, I want to hear it from DT and Mems. What is realistically a successful season now?
Winning the title.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it all depends what our perception of successful is. I mean, at Arsenal, people seem to think that finishing within the top 4 is a successful season, and winning the FA Cup is a successful season. Based on the position that we are at the moment, with Leicester top of the league and with Spurs second, we have got to be thinking about nothing more than winning the title. And anything less than winning the title at this moment is not going to be a successful season.
And also, Dave, can I add on that?
Yeah, I mirror exactly what Mem says. It's the title, man. We're not fighting against oil money this year. You know, we're not sitting there going, oh man, how can we compete with Chelsea and Man City? They've spent so much. We just can't live with them. Blah blah blah. We're fighting against Leicester and Spurs, man. It's like, if we don't win the league this year, man, it's a failure.
Do you know what, Peter? This is what's everything that's wrong with the mentality of Arsenal fans is that if we finish second this year
and win the FA Cup,
and win the FA Cup, if we finish second, they'll say it's a success. I mean, finishing second, yes, it's an improvement on last year, but based on the fact that we have had so many opportunities to win the title this year, and potentially Leicester can win the title. It's not going to be a successful season. It's not. It's going to be a disappointment, and it's going to be an underachievement season. We've got to win the title, and anything other than winning the title is not a successful season, in my eyes.
Agree with me. A lot of people now actually coming in with talking about Alexis Sanchez. Apparently, walked off the pitch quite angrily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it right at the end of the game. The ball landed to him in the centre circle when the full-time whistle was blown, and he booted it off down towards the goal that Spurs were shooting in, and he walked off pissed off. And you know what? Good. I'm glad that's his mentality, because he's disappointed we never won that game. He's upset we never won that game, and I want that kind of mentality. I want players like that to say, nah, I'm not happy with a draw. I wanted a fucking win today. We should have won. I'm disappointed. And I love that. I love that. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. None whatsoever, because he's a winner. And I thought you saw more of the old Alexis Sanchez again today.
Definitely.
A lot more of the old Alexis Sanchez. All the people that have been criticising this man, putting him down, wind your necks in. Yeah, we've got a world-class footballer. The same kind of people, the same people that used to slag Mesut Ozil off. And they're now up his arse. And they've now got display pictures of him as fucking... Seriously, man. We cry out for world-class talent. And the moment we get them, and they have a couple of bad games or they're not on form, you start putting them down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So Arsenal fans always want to scapegoat players, don't we? We always want to blame and moan about certain players, and especially when they come with a big price tag. You know,
this is the thing, Mems. We've been accused of scapegoating people, and at the end of the day, we're not scapegoating, right? We've had a go about Aaron Ramsey, not because he's played one bad game, but because he's consistently played bad game after bad game after bad game, which means he deserves the criticism. Yeah, and like I said today, Coquelin's made a mistake. Yeah, it's the first time he's made a mistake really in about a year that he's played for us. Yeah, so let's not make him the scapegoat. If he does it there and start going, fuck me, when will this boy ever learn? But let's not make him the scapegoat from this now. Players get criticism because it's justified. But, you know, we can sit here and say Alexis has been off form. Yes, that's right. Not a problem with saying that. But to sit there and say, I've seen people talking about selling one season wonder. You fucking fools. Seriously. What a bunch of helmets.
Don't hold back, DT. Just say what's on your mind.
No, I won't hold back.
It's funny, DT. You're backing up for Coquelin, but a lot of people are tweeting, I'm quite surprised you're not in his back a bit more.
No, because at the end of the day, it's the first time. I'm angry with him, yeah? Yes, I'm angry with Coquelin. Yes, he's a fucking idiot for making that tackle. Let's not make no mistake about that, okay? I'm pissed off at him. But I'm not going to make a scapegoat of him. Because it's in the year or so that he's played for us, yeah? He's put in performance after performance that has been exemplary. Week in, week out, he's been one of our best players, our leader on the pitch, right? We missed him massively over the last couple of months that he was out. And today is the first time when he's really let himself down as well. Let the fans down and let the club down and let Arsene Wenger down. Yeah, so, but because it is his first time, let's not make a scapegoat of him. We criticise him, we say what we feel about his decision and what he did, and we move on. And let's hope he learns. If he does it again when he comes back in a couple of weeks, then we've got reason to start saying, right, he's clearly not fucking learned.
I think if we would have lost the game as well, DT, the reaction towards Coquelin would have been probably a little bit different as well. You know, if we would have lost the game and that would have been his sending off would have, you know, Spurs would have been winning, and I would have been getting the text messages from the Spurs fans, and then I would be sitting here and my opinion about Coquelin would be totally different. But the fact that we've somehow still managed to get a draw out of it, I think that saved him particularly. You know, what he did was stupid. You know, he needs to learn from it. He's a young guy. Aggression is a part of his game, but he's got. I mean, he's got to learn not to be going to ground when it's in areas where you don't need to be going to ground, and that's the point what you did today.
Well, Kieran's come in and he says he still feels that we're really missing Santi Cazorla, especially in today's game. He said many times in that game the quick turn and forward pass could have been a revelation. DT.
Yeah,
Love to see that guy back.
we have missed Cazorla massively, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't do the sideways pass, he doesn't do the backwards pass, he does everything forward. He controls the play, he does all the nice little touches, in, out, bang, see ya. But I can't, you know, today I don't know, because El Neni was solid today. El Neni was solid, so
Yeah, it's really good.
you know, if we was poor in that area, then you could really say you missed him. But I felt El Neni was one of the best players on the pitch today, you know. So yeah, it's just, I'm kind of mixed emotions, man. I'm frustrated, but
And I think we're more not so much raging as such, because I think, like we said at the start, there was a bit more passion, a bit more pride of playing for the occasion and for the badge, you know. And I think that was the difference, especially in today's game.
Yeah, well, that's it. We said all along, right? If we get beaten, but we put, and them players put 110% in, then you can't ask for no more. Sometimes you get beat by the better team. Some times you get beaten by a bit of luck. But the one thing we cannot take are performances like Manchester United, like Swansea, like West Brom, you know, like Norwich. All these kind of games where we just didn't look interested. We just looked lazy, lethargic, uninterested. And that's what you don't want. That's what you don't want as fans. Today, I saw 110% passion and commitment and a bunch of players who looked like they were hurt by the last week. They were hurt by what they were being called and told. And make no mistake about it, these players know what gets said on social media about.
Yeah.
Do you know, it sums it up. I see a thing earlier, Rio Ferdinand talking about Arsenal Fan TV before the game.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I'm telling you, these players know what gets said about them. They might not directly see it, but there's no mistaking that these players know what's getting said.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it was nice to see that they were hurt. It was nice to see that, and nice to see a bit of passion. But we've got to follow it up now.
Yeah.
We've got to regroup, we've got to recover, and we go to Hull on Tuesday night, and we've got to keep the momentum going now. Let's just keep going, and like I've said all along, take it one game at a time. There's 27 points to play for. Massive 27 points. Yeah. Look at this last week alone. There's been 3 games in the past 7 days, right? We was all going to Manchester so confident, and we lost. No one expected us to lose to Swansea, and we did. Everyone expected us to get battered today, but we didn't. You know, not everyone thought that Leicester was going to batter West Brom the other night. They didn't. Anything can happen.
Do you know what? So, honestly, though, guys, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm being too negative, but I know the draw today was a decent result because we went down to 10 men, and the fact that, you know, we've gone 2-1 down, but if we would have only have beaten Leicester in midweek, the draw today would have potentially have been a good result. But in terms of the actual title race, 1 point out of 3 out of a potential, you know, it's not good enough in terms of going for the title. And we've got some big games coming up now, and with Leicester's run,
West Brom next in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, and it's really, I mean, we're relying now. It's not really in our hands anymore. We're relying on Leicester to drop points, and they've got Watford today.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be easy, and it's games like these where we've really got to start winning. You know, where games are we're big games. You know, where
our next 4. Sorry to interrupt, Menz, but I mean, just saying our next 4 games: Hull in the FA Cup away, and then we've got West Brom at home. That's a 5:30 kickoff. Obviously, the Hull one's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Then we've got Barcelona, a trip there. So it starts the 8th of March against Hull, 12th of March, West Brom, 16th of March, we've got Barcelona, then 19th of March, Everton away. Blimey, there's a lot of travelling. You know.
See, the thing is there, Liam, that West Brom game, if we beat Hull on Tuesday, that West Brom game is cancelled.
All right.
Okay.
Because that's the FA Cup weekend. So if at present we're playing West Brom in the league on the Saturday, if we beat Hull on Tuesday, then we're playing Watford at home on the Sunday. So that West Brom game will get moved to
probably
somewhere,
midweek,
wherever. You know, probably in one of the midweeks when we're not in the Champions League anymore. So. Unless the most amazing miracle happens in Barcelona.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
I mean, Everton's always going to be a tough place to go. You say Everton's away?
Yeah, well, Everton away 19th of
Everton
March.
away. I mean, they're winning 1-0 at the moment against West Ham. Lukaku scored and Morales has been sent off. So I mean, Everton. Whenever I think of Everton away, I just remember a couple of hammerings that they've given us over the years. Yeah, it's not an easy place to go, and that's what I'm saying. If we really want to win the title, we've got to start getting a string of results, back-to-back wins, going to places and grinding out results. So I know today was a draw, given the circumstances, etc. But we've really got to start putting on a big, long run now of wins.
There's only 3 months to go now, and I mean, like I said, it's West Brom at home we've got left. Then it's Everton away. These are all the league games. Then Watford at home in the league in April. West Ham United away. What's the last time at Upton Park? Then Palace at home. Sunderland away. Then Norwich City at home. Then Manchester City away, which could be huge, and then finishing off with Aston Villa at home. So these are massive games.
The one game that worries away, because it's 3 days after Barcelona. They've decided within their wisdom, let's put Arsenal going to Barcelona on the Wednesday night, but let's put them on at 12:45 on Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's idiots.
Fucking bollocks.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? That game there should have gone to Sky or whatever on a Sunday at 4 o'clock. All because of BT Sports and their television bullshit.
Yeah.
We're coming back from Barcelona on a Thursday morning. We've got to play at Everton away on a Saturday morning. What a bunch of crap.
Yeah, that's a strange call. But this is what Arsene Wenger's got to do now, DT. He's got to start resting players for some games. Obviously with the FA Cup game coming up, he's got to rotate.
Yeah.
And maybe Callum Chambers will get a couple of games now. Maybe Joel Campbell will start. A couple of other players. He's got to start resting some players now.
Let's talk about one guy. Actually, some guy just tweeted me, jogged my memory there. Hector Bellerin obviously got 2 assists.
I thought it was brilliant today.
I tell you, I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, he's a right back. I think for the future, we've got a really good right back here.
Yeah.
The only problem is, a few years down the line, Barcelona probably bid in for him. But Mems, go for it.
I mean, he's one of my favourite players in the team. I mean, Hector Bellerin is one of the players where, when he first burst onto the scene, he was really exciting. There's some players where you can see straight away that they've got something about them. And when Nicolas Anelka first came onto the team, there was something about him, and we was all excited. Hector Bellerin did that as well for me. He's one of these players where you can tell that he's got something a bit special about him. He's got that pace that gets us forward. People used to say defensively he was weak, but he's not. He's actually quite a strong defender. But he gives us so much going forward down that right. I mean, he's got 2 assists today. I thought he was exceptional going forward. And this is why we've let Debuchy leave. Then my problem is that, like you said, I mean, he's a young guy, and when Barcelona do come knocking, he might go. But until then, I'm going to enjoy watching him play for Arsenal if that ever happens. And I thought he was brilliant today, Hector Bellerin. I thought Kieran Gibbs did all right as well today. I think Monreal picked up a slight calf knock, didn't he, before the game, and that's probably why he didn't play. But I thought Kieran done quite well today. I've been a big critic of Kieran Gibbs over the years, but he didn't put anything wrong. I thought he done well.
Chelsea just scored against Stoke. It's scary that they're starting to quickly climb up that table. Obviously undefeated under Gus Hiddink, only under.
How many points are they behind us?
Sorry.
Put me on the spot there, DT.
Well, Chelsea are currently 7th. After if they win today, we're 42 points, and we will have 52 points. So that's 10 points, mate.
Wow. So how this season's panning out. I'm not saying they're going to win the league, but top 4 still a shout for them. I mean, United are picking up the points. I think the draw is very good for them. So it's all coming so close. I mean, obviously we want to be more looking at the top end of the table, but I think we've got to be a little bit cautious about some of the teams.
The worry for me, Liam, is Manchester United in 5th place have got 47 points with a game in hand. If they win that game in hand, it obviously takes them to 50 points, which is 2 points behind Arsenal. Bear in mind, Manchester United, the run that they've been on, it's so tight at the top there between second and and West Ham, it's so tight, you know. So we really can't be affording to be dropping any more points. We've got to keep winning. I mean, it's an old cliche, but we can't really worry about what other teams are doing. If we just win, if we just concentrate on winning our games, it doesn't matter what other teams do.
And just another fact for you, David Ospina made 9 saves today, the most by an Arsenal goalkeeper in a Premier League game since April 2009.
Wow.
There's a fact for you, ladies and gents. All right then. Well, we're gonna wrap up the show here. You know, it's I don't think we're
Such
as
a nerd.
you know. He's talking to me, DC.
Yeah. Getting these little facts.
You're a nerd.
Well, I
You're a
thought,
nerd,
you know,
seriously,
show
man.
the intelligence of the football side of things. You know, there's gonna be some people who are a bit like me who find that quite interesting.
Yeah, fucking nerds.
Obviously, like I said, fantastic by David Ospina. Obviously, I think he got winded for one of the shots. You know, so he did really put his body on the line today.
Well, lads, before we go, what do you think of Gabriel today? How do you think he played?
What? Right, listen, that guy gave me a heart attack in the night.
That guy at the end.
Do you know what I saw Tony Adams do that about 20 years ago at Old Trafford, yeah, where he sliced one into his own in his own net, and I had visions of that. But I actually felt he actually played okay in the first half, and there was a bit of footage of him doing like this war cry, trying to pump people up, and I think he done quite well. And apart from the slice, I think he done all right today. And Mertesacker as well, you know, he gets a lot of criticism.
He needs a run of games now.
He does. But I mean, you know, I think people are very critical on players based on 1 or 2 appearances. But you've got to start judging players based on the back of like 5 or 6 appearances rather than like the odd 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, no, well said, mate. I think Gabriel definitely
I do also think that. I also, do you know what? Sorry, I'm breaking up there. Do you know what? I actually think that seeing the team selection today, I think that even Arsene Wenger's now decided that's it with Ramsey and in the middle. I think, you know, because it's not like he had to put Ramsey out on the right-hand side and we had no one else to go out there. You know, he could technically have put Theo Walcott out there or Joel Campbell. So I think that Wenger's now said, right, I've seen enough in training and whatnot now, and then he's ready. I've got to throw him in there. If I brought him, then I've got to play him, haven't I?
But DT, this is exactly what the fans are and the critics of Arsene Wenger have been crying out for a long time, is for him to pick the team based on the opponents that we're playing. Yeah. And in some home games, you might be able to play Aaron Ramsey in the middle. But in away games in particular, when we're going to be up against it, you do need those 2 DMs or more defensive-minded player than what Aaron Ramsey is. And today, credit to Arsene Wenger, he got the selection quite right, and it's just frustrating for me because I don't think Aaron Ramsey really on the right-hand side is as effective as someone with pace. Now, you've got your Joel Campbell, you've got your Theo, you've got your Ox. And Ramsey's quite a tidy player, but he hasn't got that electric pace that suits our game. And when you've got Alexis on one wing, you've got Danny Welbeck up front, it seems like we're a bit unbalanced with Ramsey on that right.
Yeah, no, very good points, members. I think, I think we're still trying to. We're still trying to see.
Try to cut me up with that shitty shirt on, you fucking whore bag.
Oh God!
Jeez. I just hope DT doesn't get out of the car and knocks over live on air. That's why we're going to wrap it up here.
Looking at me, fucking big nose cunt.
Oh, wait, is he talking about?
Yeah, you fucking mug.
I think he's talking about.
Wait there.
Fucking
bitch.
in the.
Oh, man, have you had too much?
There's kids watching this. DC.
You fucking slag!
Oh God!
We're going to wrap the show up now. Thank you to everyone watching live. It's I think a 2-2 draw. We're not so frustrated as such. Maybe annoyed that we couldn't have gone with all 3, but that is how it is. I do have my own YouTube channel, Goon News TV. I stick the link in the description below for that. So if you like any more Arsenal related content, go down there and give it a sub. DT, I think, still wants to knock out that lady. Right, Mem, thanks for you coming on, mate.
A pleasure, Liam. Well, thanks for having me on, mate. Always a pleasure.
Dear,
And let's get the All fans going. Let's look forward to Hull next week, and let's get this little run going. And I know there's loads of fans at the moment. DT, give us 2 seconds. I just want to say one thing. There's loads of fans out there at the moment on Arsenal Twitter accounts, and there's loads of conflict between, if you're Wenger in, if you're Wenger out. Let's just leave that to bed until the end of the season if we can, or until we know that the title is completely over. Let's get behind the team. Let's get behind the players. Whatever your agenda is, whatever your view is on Arsene Wenger, let's just hold it down and let's support the team until we know that it's mathematically impossible not to win a title. So come on, the Arsenal.
Yeah, well said, Mems. I definitely agree with that. There's no point, slagging off Wenger here and there. Just get beyond those team, and obviously Hull, West Brom. And DT, thank you as always, mate.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been emotional.
Could end emotional with you and the other driver in a minute. But yeah, no, thank you to everyone watching live. Amazing numbers today, over 1,000. I think 1,500 we peaked. So, and obviously the people will be watching a little bit later on. But for now, this has been Arsenal Fan TV. Thank you very much for watching. Up the Arsenal.
Wenger out.